diversity.
I call the member for Indi.
Deputy Speaker, I move the motion relating to leadership and gender diversity in the terms in which it appears on the notice paper.
The member for Indi.
Colleagues, International Women's Day is on March the 8th. The National Rural Women's Coalition, which is made up of the ALGWA, Australian Women in Ag, Country Women's Association of Australia, the National Rural Health Alliance and the Women's Industry Seafood Community are all visiting Parliament this week. This year, the theme for the UN Convention Against Discrimination Against Women meeting in New York, the theme is Challenges and Opportunities in Achieving Gender Equality and the Equalisation of Rural Women and Girls. Deputy Speaker, we've had new ministers for agriculture, new ministers for the status of women, new ministers of regional Australia. So I think it's timely today to remind the Parliament about the importance of a proactive approach to ensuring gender equality on all boards. But today I'd particularly like to talk about agricultural boards as they relate to the power the government have got. So in my speech today, I'm going to be talking about the 15 rural research and development corporations which receive statutory levies, partly matched by the Commonwealth, where the representation of women is very low. I'm going to be talking about the Australian Institute of Company Directors Institute, which says its quest is for 30% female representation across all AXX 200 boards. The aim is by 2018, and that's stalled. I'm talking about the importance of diversity and the time when we are at the crux, I suppose, of going forward with gender equality. So I would like particularly today to focus, though, on rural and regional Australia in the bigger picture. Rural and regional Australia is the backbone of this nation. Truly, the Australian Regional Australia Institute tell us that the regions are responsible for 1/3 of total employment in this country, just over 1/3 of our economic output, about 2/3 of our exports by value, and our regional capitals are home to about 1/4 of all Australians. So there's nothing insignificant about rural and regional Australia. And of all that work, agriculture, together with mining, but today I'm focusing on agriculture, is the hub. Colleagues, before I was a politician, I had the real pleasure of being involved in a national organisation called Australian Women in Agriculture. I was one of the founding directors and later on became president. And the aim of that organisation was to raise the status of women in agriculture. The scientists, the journalists, the academics, the economists, the educators, the marketers, the international traders, the financiers, the public servants, the CEOs, the agronomists, and of course the farmers. So that was our job. And part of raising the profile was to make sure that representation right across the board was real and that the people who took up positions of power actually represented the experience in the workplace. And I'd just like to take a moment to acknowledge some of the leaders in this area from my electorate, to Marion Rack, to Elaine Patton, to Alana Johnson, to Dr Rowan O'Hagan, to Jill Briggs, to Alana Young, to Nerida Kerr, to thank them for their work. Government policy set in 2016 set a target of women holding 50% of government boards positions. And in June 2017, women held 42.7% of government boards position. But in agriculture, that's not the story. In agriculture, government boards, there's 18 boards, there's 114 positions, and there are 39 women in those positions, which is 34%, way short of the target. But in preparation for today, I asked the library to do a bit of a deep dive into some of the agricultural statistics that we need to be looking at. And across the government portfolios of agriculture and water resources, Attorney General, communications and the arts, etc., we find that second to the Attorney Generals, agriculture is the lowest representation of women on boards. So agriculture and water resources, there are 18 government boards, there's 114 positions and there's 39 women, which is 34%. And we're just topped at being the worst by Attorney Generals, which is 32.6%. So what I'm saying today is we have moved some way. There is some effort and slowly there is an improvement, but not nearly enough. So in bringing my comments to a close, I call on the government to actually work closely with the National Farmers Federation. They've got a diversity in agricultural leadership program. and I call on the Minister for Agriculture and Water Resources to outline to Parliament on a regular basis what the Minister is doing to raise our representation up to the 50% in the near future.
I thank